Welcome to the John and Heidi Show podcast, brought to you by DirecTV, 1-800-259-7646. Also brought to you by RVWheelator.com. If you're buying an RV or selling an RV, check out RVWheelator.com and the Dollar Shave Club. Here's John and Heidi.
Thank you so much for listening on a Thursday. Hey, baby, how you doing?
Fine, how are you?
Fantastic. You still got a bit of a cold, don't you?
I do. I'm not feeling well.
Sound a little sniffly over there. Hey, we've got a guest coming up later in the program, Heidi-Show-ElaineStienon, and she's got a book. It talks about Mormons. And here's the interesting thing. She's got several books about Mormons, but she's not Mormon, which I thought, oh, okay. So it'll be interesting to chat about that. Also, did you know that hair will fall out faster on a person that is on a crash diet? So if you're on a diet and you're trying to lose weight, don't be surprised if you lose hair, too. That has happened to you before, hasn't it?
I'm always losing my hair.
So good news, Heidi. Now you can blame that on a diet. See?
Yeah, I'm losing my hair because I'm on a diet. I think people know that is not at all actual truth.
Well, that's what they're saying. Coming up, we've got some fun stuff to share. It is a Thursday. Thanks for listening to the John and Heidi Show.
This portion of the program is brought to you by Dollar Shave Club. Get razors for $1 a month plus a few bucks shipping, so you can enjoy fresh razors every month for as little as $3. Learn more at dollarshaveclub.com/radio.
Thank you so much for listening to the John and Heidi Show on a Thursday. Take a listen to this. The new Oxford Dictionary of English reveals the English language has about 30 terms for people who are crazy, but only about a half a dozen terms for people who are not crazy. That's kind of weird. So apparently if you're crazy, they have all kinds of things to call you, but if you're not crazy, there's only a few things to call you. Maybe that's because when you're crazy, people want to call you more names. That must be.
I can think of way more than that to call crazy people.
Well,
I should be updating the dictionary.
There you go. Over 30 people who are lunatics, nuts, insane, crazy, bonkers. You know, all of those different things. But if you're sane...
The nice thing with crazy is you can make a combination of all of those words.
Hey, there you go.
Yeah.
Yeah.
My favorite to call crazy people is...
Yeah, I'm not going to let you say it here because I know exactly what she's going to say. If you want to know what she's going to say, just be friends with her on Facebook. There's all kinds of vulgarity there. So, all right, coming up, we got some fun stuff to share on a Thursday. Thanks for listening to the John and Heidi Show.
This portion of the program is brought to you by RVWheelator.com. If you want to buy or sell an RV, go to RVWheelator.com. List your RV for free. Learn more at RVWheelator.com.
Oh, Heidi, you know it's true because you heard it on the radio. Please don't let this happen to me. A 38-year-old Washington State man has been complaining of dizziness and loss of balance and shooting pains in his head when he went to the doctor to find out what the problem was. Guess what? They took a CAT scan. They discovered a 2-inch snail in his head.
Oh.
Apparently, when he was taking a nap outdoors, a snail crawled into his ear. And it grew to the point where it could not get out. Merkito, I think is what his name was quickly taken to a nearby hospital to have a 2-inch snail removed from his head. That would be weird, wouldn't it?
That's disgusting.
You'd think you'd feel the thing moving around
This
in there.
is why I don't go outdoors.
I know. And why was he taking a nap on the ground? Sam Merkio. I don't know how you say his last name. Sorry, Sam. You probably can't hear me anyway. You got a snail in your ear. But that is just nuts. So he was taking a nap, a snail climbed in his ear, and you'd think that you would have noticed that right away, because to me, that would really...
He must be a very sound sleeper.
Apparently, and must sleep for a while.
I notice when a fly lands on me while I'm sleeping, much less something climbing in my ear.
Snails are not exactly known to be, speedy creatures, so he must have been out for a while for the snail to get all the way up there and climb in his ear.
Maybe he was intoxicated and passed out.
That could be. Maybe that's what he...
That would make sense why he was on the ground.
I took a nap on the lawn.
Yeah, you did.
Face down for about 6 hours. Yeah, I might have been drinking ahead of time. Anyway, don't let that happen to me. That is nuts. A 2-inch snail was in the guy's head. Ugh. You know it's true because you heard it on the radio.
The John and Heidi Show is brought to you in part by the Keystone Treatment Center.
This is your brain, and this is your brain on drugs. We share silly stories here on the program, but addiction is no joke. If you or someone you know suffers with an addiction to drugs or alcohol, make today the day you seek help.
Call toll-free 844-204-1055.
That's a toll-free number. Again?
844-204-1055.
And this is your brain on drugs. A State College, Pennsylvania man faces additional charges after showing up for a court hearing on charges of public drunkenness and disorderly conduct, and he showed up with a loaded gun. Yeah, not a smart thing. Police officers found the man's weapon. A 22-year-old man was arriving for a hearing. He was arraigned on new charges of including possession of a firearm in a courtroom facility. He was taken to jail in lieu of a $10,000 cash bond. So He made some bad decisions. One of them was the public drunkenness. And then when he's going to court, he thought, I'm going to bring my gun with me just in case. You just never know. Bad idea. Don't do that. You can't take your gun there. And that's your brain on drugs. We've got your moment of duh coming up.
This portion of the program is brought to you by Keystone Treatment Center. Addiction is no laughing matter. Call Keystone Treatment Center toll-free at 1-844-204-1055.
Now, your moment of duh. This is an interesting invention here. It's a beer mat that calls for a refill when your pint is almost empty. It was invented, believe it or not, by scientists in Germany. I know you're shocked. The electronic beer mat was created by computer scientists Andrew Butz. He's at the University of Munich, and Michael Schmitz at the Saarland University. The mat uses pressure and acceleration sensors that react to the weight of the glass and the position and the movement of the coasters. The microsensors then pass this information via radio link to the bar, where the signal is picked up and decoded by a waiting computer saying, hey, this guy over here, his beer is getting low. You should go check on him. You know, back in my day...
You know what? I think that's kind of nice, because how many times have we been out somewhere and we cannot
Here's the thing, though.
Not only just for beer, but for a water glass? How many times have we been in a restaurant and we can't get anybody to come back over to our table?
Computer for this? That's what waiters and waitresses do.
Yeah, but they don't do it well anymore.
But here's the thing. There's so many that do. There's so many. And I know there are some that don't. But the ones that do, don't take their job away with a computer. I'm just saying, it's kind of crazy. We've got your scoop of the day coming up in a bit.
You would still need the waiter or waitress to come to the table.
Yeah, you would. I understand, but I'm saying this
It just makes their job easier.
I don't know. Either that or it makes their job harder, because now they got some computer telling them what they were already going to do anyway. All right. Coming up, your scoop of the day. It's on the way.
The Scoop of the Day is brought to you by Wells Blue Bunny. If you want delicious ice cream, be sure to look for the Blue Bunny. Sure to have your favorite flavors. Learn more at bluebunny.com.
Now, your scoop of the day. According to a study from the London School of Economics, working people are at their lowest not on Mondays, but on Tuesday. The professor says it's plausible that Mondays we're still kind of enjoying the weekend, but by Tuesday, that's worn off and there's nothing but weekdays in sight. So they're saying Tuesdays kind of stink more than Mondays. That's why, here, we do a weekend to lighten the load on Tuesdays.
Tuesdays with Charlie.
Every Tuesday. We try to cheer you up. We talk to her daddy and have some fun. Researchers in Austria say that women sleep better than men, especially when they're alone, because men tend to snore and thrash around while women tend to be light sleepers. So they're saying, ladies, you're better off sleeping alone. Have that guy sleep somewhere else. Put him in his own room. I don't think that's the case in our house.
That's not the case in our house.
I don't thrash around. I snore a little bit here and there.
You snore a lot.
You snore
I just
a lot
sleep
too.
through it. Oh, I know I snore. I've woken myself up snoring so loud. I'm like, holy cow, that was loud.
You know what happened last night? I fell asleep watching TV, and you guys just left me laying there. So I was snoozing on our living room floor.
You were talking in your sleep, too. We were laughing at you.
I was peacefully sleeping on the living room floor. Our son, who's 18, he decided, hey, I need to go roll the windows up in my car. So he went out the front door, but I didn't hear him. I was sleeping through any of that. Well, then he realized the garage door was open, so he came into the house through the garage, but the door going to the garage was locked. So he tried the handle, and I woke up because the dog started barking. I'm like, somebody's trying to get into our house. So I flip the lights on in the garage, and I open it, and I see the door open to the outside, and I'm thinking, who was that? And I start walking into the garage, not knowing exactly what my plan was. I had no plan whatsoever.
No weapon.
I thought somebody was burglarizing the house, and it's me and two dogs barking. And then Troy comes through the front door. I was like, what were you doing? He goes, I rolled my windows up. I'm like, you scared the heck out of me. So I don't know if that was his plan or not, but if that was his plan, it certainly worked. Anyway, according to research, women tend to sleep better without men in the bed. So there you go. That was a long story. Hey, in the town of North Pole, Alaska, guess who's running for city council?
Who's that?
Santa Claus. According to Time magazine, a man whose legal name is Santa Claus is one of two write-in candidates, and he could actually become a city council member in North Pole, Alaska.
Yeah, because someone who legally changes their name to Santa Claus is exactly who you want running your community.
Hey, an Italian man was running late for his flight out of Rome. So what do you think he did to slow things down? He called in a bomb threat.
Oh, yeah, that's a good idea.
Yeah, that's not a good idea. He got a free ride somewhere, but it certainly wasn't where he was planning on going. And in case you haven't heard, those funny-looking, swirly, fluorescent light bulb things, they're not as environmentally friendly as everybody thought. They do last longer, they do use less energy, but they also contain enough mercury to contaminate 6,000 gallons of water beyond safe drinking levels.
I have known this for years, and I have always, haven't I, refused,
Yes, we've
absolutely
never had
refused to buy them.
Yeah, we bought a lamp at a garage sale one time. It had one in it, and she said, "Take the bulb out."
Take the bulb out. We don't even want it. You keep the bulb.
You keep that. I don't want to be.
Yep.
I don't want to be responsible for what could happen. It says
You're not going to be responsible for killing people.
Well, it says here it can cause kidney and brain damage. However, experts say
brain
there's
cancer.
No, it says cause kidney and brain damage is what it says.
I thought it caused brain cancer.
Could be. Anyway, experts say fluorescent bulbs are still better for the environment overall because they're more energy efficient. But the problem is
better
when
for
it
the
comes
environment
time,
overall, like today.
Yeah.
But when all of these people have thrown these light bulbs into our landfills, and that is seeping into the groundwater,
Yeah,
the
you gotta
mercury is.
Gotta be
we're
very,
all
very
gonna
careful.
die.
You got to be very, very careful on how you dispose of them.
Yeah, they're
because
supposed to be taken to a recycling. How many people do you suppose are taking these light bulbs
Most
when
people
they're
don't
burnt
even
out
know.
to a recycling center? Nobody.
Something else that you probably don't know is the proper way to dispose of a 9-volt battery. I have never in my life been told this until I saw a video on YouTube of a man who changed the batteries in his smoke detectors and then burned his home down the same day because he threw the batteries away, and the batteries, the two metal things right next to each other on a 9-volt battery, that is so dangerous. And they touched something metal in his garbage can, and it sparked a fire and burned his home down. You're supposed to tape over the end of the battery. I had no clue. Why is there not a campaign nationwide telling people to do that?
Isn't it funny, too, that the only batteries that start fires are the ones that you're putting in your smoke detectors?
I think that's a bit ironic, yes. All right, let's get to our strange law. In Les Fleurs, Texas, it is illegal to take more than 3 swallows of beer while standing.
Oh.
Heidi wants to break the law in Texas, doesn't she? All right, that's been your strange law. This has been your Scoop of the Day.
This portion of the program is brought to you by RoughToughKennels.com. Dog kennels and accessories sent to your front door wherever you live. Your dog deserves it. Learn more at RoughToughKennels.com.
Thank you so much for listening to the John and Heidi Show on a Thursday. We've got a special guest on the program today. We have an author, ElaineStienon, and Elaine has several books out. One is called The Way to the Shining City. Another one is called The Light of the Morning, and another called In Clouds of Fire. And we've got Elaine with us on the line right now. Elaine, how are you today?
Oh, I'm doing just fine, thank you. Thank you for having me.
Well, we're excited to have you on the program. Now, when did your first book come out? Was it recently, or has it been a little while back?
Well, the very first book was The Light of the Morning. It came out in 1988.
Oh, wow.
And there was quite a while before the next one came out, in Clouds of Fire, and then The Way to the Shining City was published in, 2011.
Very cool.
And these are all about the early beginnings of what became the Mormon Church, and there are other churches that came from that background. And I was just fascinated by the stories of the early beginnings and the trouble they had being accepted and being persecuted and being chased from place to place. And I was fascinated by this story, and so I wrote these books.
Elaine, are you Mormon yourself?
No, I am not.
Oh.
I'm a member of another church, and it's called the Community of Christ, and it had its beginnings in the early Mormon story.
Nice.
But no, I am not Mormon from Utah.
Very cool. Now, there are a lot of people that have heard of Mormons, and I know a couple of years ago we had a person in the presidential campaign, Mitt Romney, and he's Mormon, and I think there were a lot of people that were learning about what that means at that time, because you're going, okay, well, he's running for president. Is that a good thing? Is that a bad thing? What is it? So, first of all, why is it this is one of the religions that people just don't know a whole lot about? I wonder why that is.
I don't know. I guess they tend to listen to what other people say about it. And the thing is, the Mormons are Christian. Now, there are people that say that Mormonism is a cult, but it's not. It's a Christian religion. It's been around long enough so you can say it's not a cult. I remember that early Christianity and other religions have started out being called a cult. You know, a bunch of people that follow one leader. And I think the Mormon Church and the other groups have survived long enough so that they can certainly be considered Christian. And really important forces in the world of Christianity. But people still persist in thinking of it as a cult, at least the Utah Mormons as a cult, and it's not. Now, there have been little spin-offs from the Mormon Church, and you've heard about all the plural marriage, the polygamists in southern Utah and northern and Arizona, and they are not members of the big Mormon Church. They have split off. Right now, the Mormon Church does not condone polygamy at all. It does not allow it. As far as I know, the other groups do not either.
I was going to say, that's the one thing that I know in the news. It seems like any time something in the news about the Mormon religion, it's usually something to do with the polygamy portion of it. But you're saying that's not even really a part of the actual Mormon religion?
Well, not anymore. In the early days, when the church was first organized, there was no plural marriage, and nobody did it. The church was organized in 1830, and it wasn't until the mid-1840s that certain people began thinking, well, let's maybe polygamy is a good thing. It was in the Bible, and maybe it's we want to get back to the restoration of all things. That's what they wanted to do. So let's run in polygamy, and it really didn't work. I mean, you've probably seen these shows, Big Love and other shows on TV, where people really swear by it and think it does work. But when it was first introduced in the in the early 1840s, not everybody did it. It was just a few leaders that were doing it, and they were doing it secretly. And then the main body of Mormons was kicked out of Illinois, and they went west, and eventually came to the place where Salt Lake City is now, the Salt Lake Valley, and built up a city there and built up their religion. And then they introduced polygamy and said it was all right to do it. And I'm not sure. Not everybody did it. And I'm not sure what the percentage of people who that did it, but it was more prevalent then than it was certainly in the back in Illinois. And no, the Mormon Church does not have polygamy at all, or plural marriage. It was a part of their history, but they do not condone it now. And the people that do practice it had split off from the Mormon Church and founded their own little church. And then you see these people like Jeffs and other people supremely in control of their little group, and they have many wives and that sort of thing. I think it's kind of hard on the children, and it's not too good for the other people too. I can't imagine what the advantages would be, but there are people that still do it.
Again, visiting today with ElaineStienon, author of several different books that all kind of have to do with the early days in the Mormon Church. And I think it's fascinating that that's what your three books are about, but you're not Mormon. I think that's really kind of cool. Yeah. So what was the fascination for you? What made you say, you know what, I want to write a book about that?
Well, I belong to historical societies, certain of them, the Mormon History Association and another group. And I just done a lot of reading, and I sympathize with the underdog. And when they were first established, they were certainly the underdogs, and they were chased from place to place. And it's amazing because thinking of all the persecutions, how they managed to stay together as a body and be together. And so I was fascinated with that part of the story too. Now my novels are the last two are historical fiction, and you can find me on the web if you go to www.ensignpublishing, ENSIGN publishing.com. That tells all about the books and about me. And the way to get the books is to, I think any bookstore will get them for you, but Amazon.com is a good one, and Barnes & Noble.
We'll send folks out to find the books. Again, the titles are The Way to the Shining City, The Light of the Morning, and In Clouds of Fire. And our guest today has been ElaineStienon, and I'm going to spell that, so if they're trying to find you, they can find it, STIENON. And that's the first time I've seen that name ever pop up, Elaine. That's a neat name.
It's more popular in Belgium. It is a Belgian-French name.
Well, it's a beautiful name.
Thank you.
And I appreciate you taking some time to chat with us today, and a fascinating topic, and we appreciate your time joining us on the program.
Well, thank you. Thank you for having me.
Definitely. We're going to send them out to find the books, and again, you can find those wherever books are sold, and again, Elaine has been our guest. Thanks for listening to the John and Heidi Show on a Thursday.
This portion of the program is brought to you by CarsForSale.com. If you're in the market to buy a car, truck, or van, find thousands of vehicles to choose from at CarsForSale.com.
Today is a very special day, Heidi. Do you know what today is?
What is today,
Thought
John?
you'd never ask. It's Thursday, the 8th day of October, which means, everybody ready for this? Alvin C. York Day. Ta-da!
I have no idea who that is.
I don't know. I thought maybe you knew. I was kind of hoping that you know. You can't shed any light on the Alvin C. York Day that we're all celebrating today?
Is that the full name of Alvin from Alvin and the Chipmunks?
Could be, or could be
or
the
is
guy
that the man who invented York peppermint patties?
Could be.
Because if that's the case, I will celebrate.
Let's celebrate
that
with the York
day.
Peppermint Patty and just pretend that's what it is. Fall Astronomy Day today, National Pierogi Day, P-I-E-R-O-G-Y. What is pierogi?
I don't know.
I got to Google a lot of stuff. Universal Music Day and World Octopus Day. Yeah, they got to have a day. Why not today?
I suppose.
It's 10/8, so you think maybe it's because there's eight legs?
It should be August 8th.
Should be.
Should.
There you go. Well, it's World Octopus Day today. Get out there and celebrate by hugging an octopus or eating a York Peppermint Patty. Or do both.
This portion of the program is brought to you by StoneGroupArchitects.com. It's more than a building. It's design and function working together. Check out the project portfolio at StoneGroupArchitects.com.
Thank you so much for listening on a Thursday. I've got a taxing situation here, Heidi. A Canadian doctor has a unique excuse for why she does not pay taxes. She says she has a phobia that prevents her from being able to fill out tax forms.
That is a great idea.
Yeah. Diane DeVoe, she's a doctor. She's got a phobia that's gotten her in trouble with the law. She's compiled 10 convictions for failing to fill out her tax returns. She's been sentenced to 90 days of house arrest. Her lawyer, Greg Barrow, says it doesn't make any sense. She just couldn't bring herself to file. Judge Prince ordered...
That's why you hire a CPA.
Yeah, Judge Robert Prince ordered a 53-year-old woman to undergo a mental health examination after a pretrial psychiatric report showed that she might actually suffer from this phobia. It's a real thing. Here's some other odd phobias, because I have never heard of this phobia. Have you ever heard of the phobia of being afraid to fill out tax forms?
No.
I didn't know that was a thing. But it really truly is a thing, which I might, is it contagious? Can I go hang out with her and get that? Just kidding. I don't mind filling out the tax forms because we have somebody that does the majority of it. All I do is look at it and go, yeah, it looks good, and then I sign it. Here's some other odd phobias. Puppophobia. What do you think that is?
Fear of puppies?
No, fear of puppets. There are people who are afraid of puppets. Don't be afraid of puppets. How about lachnophobia? It is the fear of vegetables. You shout if you think you know what these are.
Huh.
Rhintypophobia.
I don't know.
Rhintypophobia, the fear of getting wrinkles.
Huh.
Automatonophobia.
I have no idea.
Automatonophobia is the fear of a ventriloquist dummy. Neophobia.
I don't know.
Neophobia is the fear of anything new.
Oh, weird.
And paladophobia. Paladophobia is the fear of bald people.
Oh.
So there are people that are afraid of bald people. Now, I'm not making fun of you if you have any of those fears, because if you have them, that seriously is a thing. Heidi, are you afraid of anything in particular?
I don't like centipedes.
Oh, okay. I'm going to see if I can find one of those. I'm just kidding. I'm not really... there's nothing really that I'm afraid of. I don't have a fear of spiders or snakes or heights or any... I can't think of anything I'm afraid of, so I'll have to think about it. If you can think of something I'm afraid of, Heidi, think of that. Coming up, we've got some fun stuff to share on a Thursday. Thanks for joining us on the John and Heidi Show.
This portion of the program is brought to you by DirecTV, 1-800-259-7646. Also brought to you by RVWheelator.com. If you're buying an RV or selling an RV, check out RVWheelator.com and the Dollar Shave Club. Here's John and Heidi.
Most boys have a tough time finding at least one girl that they could take on a date, but take a listen to this. When you're the senior class president and there are 10 girls that want to go to the homecoming dance with you, How do you make up your mind? Well, Zach Davis from Eugene, Oregon said, I'm not going to choose. You're all going to be my dates. He couldn't make up his mind, so he invited all of them, and they all accepted. The summer camp counselor, drama student, and all-around good guy decided to ask a group of girls to be his dates. So one by one, he approached them in the halls of the school and asked each one if he would be his date, and all of the girls said yes. I hope they understood that it was him and 9 other girls that were taking him. So can you imagine the confusion if that wasn't the case? Hi, I'm here with my harem of young ladies that are going to the dance with me. Jump in the limo.
I wonder if he paid their entrance, all of their entrance, and all of them flowers, and holy cow, that's an expensive night.
I don't know. All I can say is Zach Davis is the man.
Yeah.
He's in Eugene, Oregon. Coming up, we've got a story about the flu, and your grandma might have been right. We'll tell you all about that in a bit.
This portion of the program is brought to you by GunUp.com. If you're a gun lover, you'll be in heaven at GunUp.com. Built by experienced military veterans, shooting sports competitors, and publishing professionals. They have awesome stories and articles that are read by millions of gun enthusiasts. Check it out at GunUp.com.
We are rolling into that time of year where a lot of people get the flu. And take a listen to this. Studies of seasonal influenza have long found indications that flu spreads better in dry air. Researchers are publishing the proceedings in the National Academy of Sciences, and they indicate that the key is the absolute humidity, which measures the amount of water present in the air regardless of temperature, not the more commonly reported relative humidity. Relative humidity varies depending on the air temperature. Absolute humidity does not. So the correlation with the flu and low humidity is important because the cold winter weather, when flu is most common, is a high relative humidity reading, and that's where we have a lot more people catching the flu. And what they're saying is if you have some moisture in the air, it's going to help things. So Grandma, who is saying that, put the tea kettle on the stove and keep the air moist in the winter, and that's going to help, well, she might have been right after all.
Well, I think I dozed off like 3 times during that break.
Here's the sad thing. I think I did too, actually. So. Coming up, money.
I love listening to you try to read that stuff and sound like you know what the heck you're talking about. It's hilarious.
I mentioned flu and humidity and something about air temperature. All right, coming up, money can't buy you happiness. Well, we'll tell you all about that maybe in a bit.
This portion of the program is brought to you by Dollar Shave Club. You can get razors sent to your door each month for just $1, plus a couple of bucks shipping. It's an amazing deal. Log on to dollarshaveclub.com/radio to learn more. That's dollarshaveclub.com/radio. Now, back to the John and Heidi Show podcast.
For those of you who are fans of music from the 1960s, remember the Beatles? They had a song, Can't Buy Me Love. Mm-hmm. Remember that? Well, according to this story, that may be true. They're saying money cannot buy you happiness. It is true that the best things in life are free. Or does money buy you happiness? Well, a recent study found that money is not the key to happiness and fulfillment. The Journal of Personality and Social Psychology found that feeling independent and competent and confident came way ahead of wealth. Psychologist Dr. Kenan Sheldon, who led the study at the University of Missouri in Columbia, said, owning a Porsche will provide the feeling of pleasure, but only for a short time. So saying that, the most important things, again, above that, are feeling independent, feeling that, hey, you know what? I don't rely on that person to do what I need to do. I'm independent. That's more important than wealth. And feeling competent and confident, those things all came ahead of wealth.
I'm so sick of these stupid studies that we've known for years. I mean, that phrase has been around forever. So didn't we already know this?
I think so, but this Dr. Kenan Sheldon probably got a grant with money, by the way, to do it, to prove that, hey, I didn't need that money after all. You should have just told me how independent I was.
Yeah, wow.
Maybe it was an independent
study.
All right. I can tell
Thanks
you.
for that big check. You're right. I don't feel better. Study complete.
And I can tell you this: I'm not a wealthy man by any means, and I'm pretty darn happy who I am. As long as our needs are met, I feel very blessed. And I know people who have more than they could ever spend in their lifetime, and they seem to be miserable.
They are miserable.
So, and not everybody. And I'm not saying that if you have a lot that means you're miserable, but I know some of the people that I know who have the most really have the least because they don't have anybody that is a true friend in their life. Meanwhile,
it's really quite sad.
People who don't have a lot financially quite often have friends who would do anything for them.
Yeah.
And they're really true friends, and they're not people that are only there because you're paying them to be there.
Right,
you know?
exactly.
So, anyway, moving on. We got some good news to end the program with. That is on the way. Thanks for listening to the John and Heidi Show.
This portion of the program is brought to you by DirecTV. Call 1-800-259-7646. They have hundreds of channels to choose from, with many packages to fit your viewing desires. Learn more at 1-800-259-7646.
We always like to wrap this program up with some good news. And I got something here that I think is really kind of a cool story. And when I say good news, by the way, it's not always good news. It's just something that hopefully if you only remember one thing from the program, I would like it to be this and not that story a few stories back where I mumbled my way through it and I couldn't even tell you what it was about. 59-year-old Mike Flowers retired last week after 35 years without a sick day. According to a report in Time magazine, Mr. Flowers learned a lesson from his parents as a boy. Get up and get going every day, no matter what. The message stuck in a serious way, and Flowers is now retiring after 35 years as a police officer without ever having taken a sick day. Flowers was a captain who oversees the Tuscaloosa Police Department, and it was the East Precinct and tactical team he was in charge of, and worked there for 35 years and never once called in sick. How cool is that?
That is pretty cool.
That is something neat. I remember when I was graduating from high school, there were some kids that got a special recognition at graduation for having never missed a day of school.
Yeah, I got that.
You didn't? As a matter of fact, if there was a special recognition for people saying, "Oh, I didn't even know you still went to school here,"
That did
you would have
happen to
probably
me
gotten
on
that.
graduation day. A girl said, "You still go to school here?"
Heidi was. Look, I'm trying to think of the right way to say it because I don't want it to sound, condescending. But you were not exactly thrilled about school.
No.
Is that a good way of putting it?
No.
So you didn't really go much.
No.
And whatever the bare minimum was, she made sure she did that because she didn't want to stay any longer. But all in all...
I honestly think they only graduated me because they were sick of dealing with my shenanigans.
Yeah,
Just let her go.
We'll have to share those stories some other time because it is time to say goodbye, Heidi.
Goodbye, Heidi.
Goodbye, everybody. Have a great day. Thank you so much for joining us. You have been listening to The John and Heidi Show.
Time now for the bonus break. Only available here on the John and Heidi Show podcast.
And the bonus break is brought to you by the Dollar Shave Club. You can learn more about these great people on their website. We're going to tell you about it here in a bit. But here's what I like about the Dollar Shave Club. It is a way for you to save money on something that you need anyway. Unless you got to a point where, you don't ever have to shave again, which I don't know anybody that is in that position. Most of the time, the older you get, you still keep growing hair, just keeps poking out of new places. So if you have to shave every day, men or ladies, if you're shaving your legs, how often do you shave your legs? Is that once a week?
Depends on the
once a month?
time of the year.
Once a month? Once a
Winter,
year?
it slows down quite a bit.
I rolled over once. I was like, oh, the dogs are in bed. I'm petting your leg. That's my leg. I'm like, oh, sorry. Thought that was the poodle. Anyway, we've got these razors now that come directly to our house. And it's just an automatic thing. I just got my email today that my shipment has been sent out. They'll send you razors once a month. You can set it up where you do it every other month if you don't need them as much. There's 3 different plans. You can do the executive, which I just switched back to, so everybody in our household will be happy. They've been stealing my 4X razors. You can do the 4X, which is the middle of the road, or the Humble Twin, which is just $3 a month, delivered right to your door. It's a great thing, very, very cool, very, very affordable. And if you'd like to know more, you can learn everything you need to know at dollarshaveclub.com/radio. Go check it out. All right, Heidi, I have 3 ways healthy couples fight from Focus on the Family. We were going to talk about this yesterday, and you didn't want to talk about it. Are you ready for it today?
Oh, I'm ready for it today.
Here's the thing. Listen. When healthy couples disagree, they listen respectfully to one another. Key word was listen.
Yeah, you don't listen. I try to say stuff, and
What
you
was that?
don't listen to me.
What were you saying?
Yeah.
Next was stay calm, no matter how passionate they feel about their disagreement. Healthy couples avoid yelling and calling each other names. Duty head. We don't yell and we don't call each other names. Do you call me names? Do I call you names?
No, but you don't just sit there calmly and listen to my position. You get all mad and start screaming and yelling and saying ridiculous things that aren't even close to being factual.
So you're telling me that I yell and scream?
You do.
I don't think I do.
You
I really
do.
don't.
And everything you say is ridiculous and so far off what we were even talking about is so far askewed from the truth that it's not even funny.
Oh, well, I'm glad to hear the way you feel about
Yeah,
this.
I'm going to start recording them so that you can hear what you say, and
we
then
can
I'll
use
play
that
it
as
back, and we can all laugh and laugh and
Use
laugh.
that as the bonus break tomorrow. I have a feeling we have an argument coming on. Number 3 on the list of the 3 ways healthy couples fight from Focus on the Family. Number 3, never threaten divorce. I think you used to do that all the time. You're like, that's it. I'm going to get divorced. And I used to chase you down. I'm like, I'm sorry. I'm such a dummy. Usually works, by the way, guys. If you're looking for a way to end the argument, just say, I'm sorry. I'm such a dummy. Chances are that's probably what the problem is anyway. You were being a dummy. So usually tends to work. But don't ever threaten divorce. That is a bad idea. So I don't think we've talked about that in a long time, have we? That's not really been an option for quite a while. Because, we just...
I just don't say it out loud anymore.
So you're saying you'll mumble it under your breath, like, move away, so far away from this jerk. All right. Hey, let's move on. That was, by the way, 3 ways healthy couples fight from Focus on the Family. By the way, thank you, Focus on the Family. I really needed that. Actually, it was kind of nice. Hey, nearly half of adults in a 60 Minutes / Vanity Fair poll wished they would have had made more of an effort in college. 40% wish that they would have done more networking. 45% of parents said that if their child was offered a dream job while in college, they'd advise them to finish school first.
What?
Yeah, 45%.
Oh, my God.
I don't know what the percentage is like me, but I can tell you this. I graduated early from high school, was offered a really good deal to go to college, but I had a job that I liked, and I kept doing it, and it was in the radio industry, and I love that. And I thought, I already have the job I want, and I disappointed my mother by not going to college at all. And I'm sure anybody listening to this program has to think, the way you grammatically put sentences together and the structure, there's no
never
way
guessed.
You have no education? Are you serious? Because grammatically, I probably ain't doing the best job in the world, is I? But I can tell you this, I don't miss the school debt that I see my friends having. They have these giant college school loans that they're still trying to pay off. I'm glad that I don't have those. But if you have a degree and you use the degree, that's awesome. But if you have a degree and you're not even using it, you got to kind of feel silly about that. So, I don't know. That's going to do it for our bonus break. I think we've made enough people mad on this program
Most
today.
likely, yeah.
All right. We'll be getting calls from schools and people who have degrees and all these smart folks out there. The bonus break is brought to you by the Dollar Shave Club, and it will be until they tell us to quit. DollarShaveClub.com/radio.